Well, Sakina, you're quite correct there. The High Court here in Bloemfontein handing down its decision or judgment at 10 o'clock this morning in Dr Nandipha Magudumana's application to have her arrest in Tanzania and the deportation process, which saw her brought back to South Africa, declared unlawful. So Dr Nandipha Magudumana argues, Sakina, that that was not a deportation, but what she says is a forced disguised extradition, and that South African authorities and their Tanzanian counterparts had basically colluded to bring her back home. Last week, Thursday, we heard Dr Nandipha Magudumana's lawyers argue that deportation basically is a unilateral act or a singular act, Sakina. But in this case, they say that there was an agreement between these two countries, South Africa and Tanzania, and that this means, according to them, it falls within the terrain of an extradition. Advocate Anton Katz, SC, who was brought in to represent Magudumana, also disputing Home Affairs' version that Magudumana and Bester were basically handed over while they were on South African soil in Tanzania. He said that any insinuation that the premises of the High Commission in Tanzania is basically on South African soil is incorrect in terms of international law. The lawyer representing the South African Police Service and the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Stellenberg SC, on the other hand, basically saying that Dr Nandipha Magudumana had changed her version in court. Her version here in this court, they say, is different to what is contained in her founding papers, in which he says nowhere in the founding papers does she speak of this disguised extradition that we heard about last week, Thursday, that she now basically claims had happened. Stellenberg SC also, urging the court to think about the alleged victims of Dr Nandipha Magudumana in whatever decision that this court may come to. Remember as well also, Sakina, that Home Affairs also joined these proceedings. Initially, they'd not been cited as respondents in Dr Nandipha Magudumana's papers. Home Affairs then raised this as a concern, given that they said they were in charge of this deportation. After Home Affairs then were joined to the matter, their lawyer basically argued that while Dr Nandipha Magudumana argues that there was some kind of collusion by these two countries, Advocate Zitzman SC said there was nothing wrong with these two countries basically collaborating, and that does not constitute collusion. They contended that Tanzanian police arrested Magudumana and Bester, and it's them that basically said that the two should be escorted back to South Africa. This is, of course, to rebut Magudumana on what the high-level delegation that arrived in Tanzania from South Africa was doing there in the first place, Sakina.